Good morning, students. In this lecture, we will discuss about the convolution codings. In our previous lecture, we have seen about the linear block codes. So, before starting the convolution coding, just we will revise about the linear block codes. So, basically, if we are talking about the correcting codes, error occurs when bits gets corrupted by transmission. So, basically, errors are introduced in our message signals during the transmission. So due to interference and so many reasons are responsible for these type of corruption. So error correcting codes are a sequence of numbers generated by a specific algorithm for detecting and removing the errors in data. So basically we have designed an algorithm. According to that, we first of all we detect the errors and after then we will correct it. So error correcting codes ascertain the exact number of bits that has been corrupted and location of the corrupted bits in the limitations in algorithm. So we have to remove that particular in which particular position the error is occurred and we have to remove that error. So basically error correcting codes can be classified into the two types. So basically we have designed the block codes and convolution codes as we have to seen in our previous lecture. So if we are talking about the block codes, so data is basically in blocks of data of a definite length. So there is a fixed length input data for transmissions. But if we are talking about the convolution code, so message comprises of data stream of arbitrary length and sequence of output bits are generated by sliding applications of Boolean functions to the data stream. So that is basically a basic part of our. If we are again talking about the convolution code, so input data bits are not divided into blocks. If we are talking about the linear block code, so data are divided into the blocks, and that number of bits of that block is fixed. While in if we are talking about the convolution code, the input data bits are not divided into the blocks as we have to done in our block codes, and which convolve to output bit based upon the logic function of the encoder. So for encoding purpose, we have designed a encoder upon a certain algorithm, and according to that our data will be achieved at the output. Also, as we have to see in our block codes, in convolution code, output code word is dependent only the present input. So when we are talking about the linear block code, so output bit is present or output bit is only responsible for the present input. But if we are talking about the convolution code, so output stream depends not only the present input but also the previous input bits stored in the memory. So that is basically there is also a memory devices included in our convolution code, while if you are talking about the block codes, there is no memory elements. If you are talking about the Viterbi developed an algorithm for maximum likelihood decoding scheme, so that is based on the persons who have designed the algorithm for decoding purpose of our convolution code. So that is a modern convolution code which we are presently using on maximum basis. So this is our the basic features. Ki apart from linear block code, what was the additional features we have involved in our convolution code? So if we are talking about the convolution code, so that is basically based on the Boolean function generators, and we are using the shift registers. And we have to see that our input data are not a fixed constant length; it is a uh, variable length data, and basically if you are talking about the output, it is depend only not only the present input, it is only also depend on the previous inputs also. So this is the very basic features which we have to involve in our convolution codes. So basically we have designed our encoder, and that encoder is made of the shift registers. So that is basically generators are designed with a shift registers, and convolution code can be represented as a NK and capital K. So we have to see what about the, so K is the number of bits shifted into the encoder at one time. So how many times you have to done the shifting, or at a one time how many places one bit can be shifted. So that is generally we have to put as a 1. Now we have to again discuss about the n. So n is the number of encoder output bits corresponding to the k information bits. So in respect of k, n is denoted as a how many number of encoder output bits you have achieved. So now we have to discuss the code rate. So if you want to design a code rate, so that is code rate is equal to the k by n. So that is the basically ratio upon k upon n. So encoder memory. So we have to also see that it's not only depend on the present input, it also depend on the previous input. So there is a encoder memory, a shift register of size k. So how many number of shift register, yeah, or you are using the number of flip flops, so that is depend on the, that is called as a constant length. So shift register is basically made of your flip flops, and so how many number, yeah, what is the size of your shift registers, and that is equal to the constant length of our convolution encoder. We have already seen n is a function of the present input bits and the contents of k. So the state of encoder is given by the value of k minus 1 bits. So in our further slides, we have seen what about the state of our encoder. So first of all, we will start from here. Again, we have to summarize the convolution encoder. That is basically a single code word, and entire data stream is encoded into a single code word, and it maps information to code bit sequentially by convolving a sequence of information bit with the generator of encoder sequences, and doesn't need to segment the data stream into the blocks of fixed size as we have to see. And basically, if we are talking about the convolution encoder, so it is a machine with memory. So there is also a memory element is added in our convolution coder. The fundamental difference that we have to again want to see, so block codes are based on the algebraic or combinational techniques, while if we are talking about the convolution code, so it is based on the construction technique. So that is a basic difference between these two types of code. So what are the features? So we have to also see we can define our convolution code by k by n or k. So k inputs and n outputs. So what is the number of output bits? That is the n and k inputs. In practice, usually k is equal to 1. So basically RC, that is equal to k by n, is the coding rate determining the number of data bits per coded bit. So that is basically define the code rate. K is a constant length of the convolution code, and that is where the memory has a k minus 1 memory element. So according to that, we will design it. Now, what is the performance? Yeah, in which parameter our performance of convolution code depends? So we have to see that is depend on the coding rate and constant length. So longer constant length k, so more powerful code hai, and more coding gain. So if you are talking about the gain, so gain of that longer constant length k will be higher than with the lower constant length, more complex decoder and more decoding delay. So a smaller coding rate RC, that is equal to, if we are talking about the smaller coding rate, so that is the k by n. That is more powerful due to the extra redundancy and less bandwidth efficiency. So that is the basically small coding rate is more beneficial for us in our encoder. So now just we have to start from our convolution encoder with k is equal to 1, n is equal to 2, and k is equal to 3. So capital 3 is equal to 3 means it will shown to you that there is a shift register that is made of a 3 bits or 3 flip flops. So that is capital K, that indicate as a 3. If you are talking about the n is equal to 2, so it is indicate as a modulo 2 operations, and we have a, or our output is a combination of 2 bits. So that is the n is equal to 2 and k is equal to 1. That is indicate that how many bits it will shifted at a time. So that is k is equal to 1. So that is the basically RC, that is equal to k by n. So in this figure we will see our general encoder. So you can see here It is a shift registers. There is a input stream. So that input stream is 1011, and this is the 3-bit shift registers. It will be basically right shifted. Presently, all bits are 0. When we are talking about there is some colors showing to you. So if we are talking about the orange cell, so that represent the state of the encoder. So when we are taking the state transition diagram, then we will decide what is the stage. Now we can see here there is C1 and C0. There are two output bits. So what is the C0? The C0 is a combination of whole 3 bits. Okay, so C0 is equal to complete 3 bits combination. So if we are talking about these goals, round circles, so that is the Boolean function XOR operation. So basically, the XOR operation is done between these 3 bits. So that is basically, you can understand. This is a basic encoder part. At initial stage, all flip flops are at the 0 state. So you can say that at initially all are at the 000 state, and now we will start from entering the first bit. So in our next diagram, the input string is streamed from right to left. So there is a movement of right to left in the encoder part. Now you have a input stream of 101. So initially all the flip flops at the 0 level, and now our first bit will be entered in the encoder. So now you can see first bit 1 is streamed in encoder. So what will be the content of the encoder? 100. So now you have to calculate when one bit enter into the encoder. So you have to calculate the outputs. What about the C0 and C1 at this conditions? So here you can see given output C1 C0, that is 1 or 1, because C0 is the XOR operation of these three, and C1 is the XOR operation of first and last bit. So that is basically 1 and 1. So what about the output? Output is 1 1. So this is the basic working principle of our encoder. You have to send the data stream, what type of data stream or input stream you have. Presently, you have to calculate the C1 and C0 at that particular instant or particular clock pulse, and after then you will calculate the output value, and in this way you will enter one by one your input data and you will receive your output. So now we will see, and if you are talking about the state, so the state will be 10. So state is the 10 state. You can also take in parallel with this. When the next bit 1 is streamed in the encoder, second bit up, now what will happen here? You have to enter, you can see here 101. Yeah. So next bit 1 is streamed in the encoder, and contents of encoder, what will happen here? What is your content? So your this bit is shifted to here, and now you will enter the again next bit 1 entered. So now what will happen? What is your output? 1 and 1, and so that is the 0, and that is the 1 and 0. So 0. So the input stream, that is the 1 0, and output C1 or C0 you will receive, that is equal to the 1 0. So that is basically diagram in our input state. So first bit you will enter. Now when there is a time to entering the second bit, your first bit will be shifted to the left side and your second bit will be entered, and after then we will again calculate the addition, or we will add the C1 and C0. So basically, if we are talking about the C0, so C0 is X of XOR operation of the 3 bits. So that is contained in the shift registers, and C1 is again the XOR operation of first and last bit. So according to that, we will again receive the output, that is equal to 1 0. Now in input stream, you will enter this. So it will again shifted here, and now your third bit will be entered. So your third bit will be entered, So what is the state? State will be 0 1. So now after addition, so when the last bit 1 is streamed in the encoder, content of encoder. Okay, so you can see here first bit is 1, 0 and 1. So according to that, you will receive your data C0 and C1. And what about the state? State will be the after shifting. So there will be, if we are working on the 0 1, so you can add these bits and about the state. So after shifting, there will be state, and that state will be 1 0 state. So there is a basic working of a convolution encoder. So we can also take a numerical. So first of all, we will slightly revise. Our bit are entering one by one. So when first bit will enter, you can see here. Now this bit will be shifted to this place. Now second bit will be entered to this place. So that is the diagram. Second bit will be entered, and after then again you have to done the XOR operations, and you will receive the C1 and C0. So what is the value of C1 and C0? That is equal to 1 1 0. And what is the state? So when you want to calculate the state, you have to move shift out. So when you shift out, so this will be decided on the state. So state is 0 1. And now third bit will be entered, and we will again take out output C1 and C0 by previous addition, like just like that. So this is the basic you can see here. So this is the complete output. So in this way, your output will be in the group of 2 bits, and in this way we can receive our output. Now we will see here again a second convolution encoder. You can also design in this way. Input data bits, that is the M. So that is a standard code rate 1 by 2. So that is the basically there are 2 outputs. So that is the 2 and 1 at a time. One bit will be shifted. So there will be the 1 by 2. And capital K, that is equal to 3. Why? Because there is a 3 flip flops or 3 shift registers. So now you can see here first coded bit, you can use U1 U2, output coded bit U1 U2, that is the M data bits. This is a basic diagram. We will also see here, suppose you have to given the data M101, same thing. So first of all, one data will be entered, after then 0 will be entered, after then again 1 will be entered, and again 0 will be entered, and all data will be received through the output. So that is a very basic functioning of our system. However, an encoder will work out. So there is a nothing else. You have to send your input data with a normal sequence, and it will, after addition, you will receive the output voltage, and after shifting the one bit, you will calculate the state of our encoder circuit. So just you can see here 0 0. So output branch, if you want to again calculate the further code word, you have to again insert the 0 0. So then when inserting the 0 0, it will again calculate the complete. So this is the 1 1 0 0 0 0 1 0 1 1. So this is a coded output of our convolution encoder, and that is the input message signal 101. So you can convert 101 into 11011 10001011. So this is the final output. So I think this is a basic working principle of our convolution encoder. It will clear to you. Here we can see the shifting of in shift registers. So now you can also, there is also a vector representation of our convolution encoder. So suppose you have to define n vectors, so each with kk elements. So one vector for each modulo 2 operations. So you can define a vector for modulo 2 operations, means how many number of bits you have. So that is basically, suppose you have to define your output as a G1 and G2. So you have again indicate, if we are talking about the G1, so G1 is the addition of all three flip flops of our input encoder. So that is the 111, and G2 is the addition of first and last bit addition. So that is basically 101. So that is a generator matrix with n vectors, and according to that we can generate a this type of encoder. So that is basically this type of encoder is designed with this way, and encoder we will design it in this way. So that is the 100, 101, and 111. So that is the vector representation. Polynomial representation. So if you have given the vector representation, so define the n generator polynomials, one for each modulo 2 adder. So if you have a what type of output circuits, according to that you can calculate the polynomial representation of your convolution encoder. So that is basically examples k is equal to 1. So we are starting from here. We have a g1x. So what about the value of g1x? And g2x, what is the value of g2x? So output sequence is as follows: ux output sequence that is equal to mx g1x, that is interlaced with the mx g1 mx into g2x. So that is a basically g1x and g2x. So you can completely calculate here. Now how you can represent? So according to that mx g1x and mx g2x, so you have a formula. You know what about the total representation of your polynomials, that is equal to 1 plus x square, as you have seen in the above question. So what about the message signal, and according to that we can calculate the value of that particular part. So that is the 1 plus x square, and we have to calculate the mx g1x and mx g2x. So according to that there are given to this formula, and according to this you can see here, this is the constant, this is the constant, and this is the first order polynomials, second order polynomials, third order, and fourth order. So in these equations you have to see which order polynomials are not existing, so we will indicate as a 0. So according to that we will make a pair 1 1 1 0 0 0. Okay, so 1 0 and 1 1. So basic solution using the vector denotation. So what about the vector denote from here? So that is the vector representation can be used for calculating the encoded output of our convolution coding. Now what will happen here? Representing the convolution encoder with the state transition diagram and state table. So now till now we have to see that how our convolution encoder works. So there are two ways. First of all, you can also, first of all you have a basic encoder, and you can by shifting one by one bit at a time, you can design a encoder and you can calculate the output of C0, C1. The another path is, first of all you will convert your inputs into the corresponding polynomials form, and after representing the polynomials form, then you can calculate the value of, so we can see here, and after then after calculating the mx g1x and mx g2, so after calculating the value of this and represent it into the polynomials form, now what you have to do, you can make a pair of same polynomials order. So according to that 1 1 in x coordination of this is 0, this is 1, x square coordinates 0 and 0, x cube coordinates are, so these are the basically coordinates of these, and according to making the pair of that we can find out the output of our encoder of convolution. Now what about the state transition diagram and how we can make it? So here now we will see, uh, as we have to see in our above examples, that any particular binary convolution encoder is associated with a set of binary inputs. Okay, So that convolution encoder is associated with a set of inputs and set of binary outputs and set of states. So there is a particular state, how many inputs you have to provide it, what about the outputs set, and what is about the state of our set. So that is the three features we have to know when we are working on the state transition diagram. So the transitions and output may be effectively represented by a state. So how you can decide the state? So we can see here for the binary convolution encoder given in the example, the set of inputs, if we are talking about the input, so that is 0 and 1. So combination of bits 0 and 1. The set of outputs, that is the basic pair of our C1 and C2. So that is basically 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1. So these are the states in which our inputs will be worked out. Set of states, so that is we have to decide and we have to make 2-bit combinations, and that is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So these are the four states which we have to decide in our state transition diagram. Now we can see that at initial state, the state will be 0, 0. When input 1 was given, yeah, you have to enter the 1 in the input, the next state becomes the 1, 0, and the corresponding output was 1, 1. In this state 1, 0, when the input 1 was given, the next state was 1, 1, and the encoder outputs were 1, 0. So that is the basically what will be the next step and what about the encoder output. And in the same manner, we can get the other transition. So we can explain you in this diagram. Basically, you can not comfortable with this one. So you can see here, there is a M bit of a stream as a input. One bit will enter at a time, and after then for after first clock pulses, when one bit enter at the encoder, we will calculate the output C1 and C0. Again, when second bit will enter, third bit will enter, so according to that input, we will get the output. And these outputs, what type of outputs we are, so according to that output, we can make a groups of 2 bits or 3 bits. So it will be either output maybe 3 bit, basically C0, C1, and C2, or your output may be 2-bit groups. So that is the C1 and C0. So according to that, your encoder, you have to calculate that value. Now we will little bit switch to the, so in this way, by using the polynomials order, we can calculate the encoded output. Now we will switch to the state transition diagram. So what is the state transition diagram? We have to also calculate our state transition diagram, and output may be effectively represented by a state transition diagram. So for the binary convolution encoder, set of inputs 0, 1, output set is again bit of 2, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 1, and set of states, that is the 4 set of states. So now we will calculate, we can see in the initial state. So initially our flip flop is 0, 0, and when one bit enter, next state will become the 1, 0, and corresponding output was 1, 1. So what will happen when we enter one bit, we will calculate the output voltage C0 and C1 and output bits. After calculating the output bits, now you will shift your bit into the next bit. And so now what will happen here, initially 0, 0, but when you are entering the 1, your next state will be 1, 0. In this state 1, 0, when input 1 was given, the next state was 1, 1, and the decoder outputs are 0, 1, 0. So in the same manner, we get the other transitions when this is tabulated. We get the state transition. So just see here, and we can see this table. Present state 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1, 1. So these are the 4 states present. When you have your input is 0 or your input is 1, so according to that we can decide the state. And what about the output? So there are two options. You have to calculate the C1 and C2, and after shifting one bit, you will again find out the next state in which our output have to go, or output will be connected. So this is the basic table. Present state 0 0, present state when you are in 0 1 state, and now there is again input bit. What about the input bit? What about the input 10? So what is the basic calculation of our next state? Okay, what will be the next state? And after addition of C, or after calculation of C1 and C0, we will receive this output bits in group of 2. So this is the way you can calculate it. This is a state transition diagram. So now what will happen? We will make a 4 small circles which will represent as a 0 0, 0 1, 1 0 and 1 1. Now first, when you enter your first bit, so according to that, these out basically when you are 0, initial condition is 0 0, and your state will also be 0 0. So when first bit will enter, what will happen? First bit will enter and addition will be 1 1. And what will be the next stage? After entering the 1, you will find out the addition of both C1 and C0, and after that we will after shifting the bit to one position, we will decide the state. So when initially first bit will enter, 1 will enter. So as you can see in your encoder part, when one bit enter and it will move to the second place. So now what will happen there? It will decide the state of the second. So after moving the one from first bit to second place, it will indicate as a 1 0. After then we have to again enter the one. You can enter it. You can find out the output voltage. Again from entering the 0 1, so it will again giving us the different state. So when you are in 0 0, initially you are in 0 0 state, then you have to find out 1 0. So move here by addition of 1, and you have received the output voltage 1 1. When you are in this position, there are two paths. You can opt the again second bit, entering the second bit, and you will again calculate the output voltage, and you will again, after calculation of output voltage, you have to move to the particular state. So that state will be 1 1. And after again entering the 0, you will again to the 0 1 state. And after that, you will reach to the 1 0. So there are four paths according to which you have to work out, or you have to enter the bit. So this is the state transition diagram, and in this diagram we have to use the symbol encoder, and we are entering the bit one by one, and according to our algo, or according to our procedure, we will calculate the C1 and C0. So this is our corresponding state transition diagram which we have to study. So I think it will be clear to you. You have only given the input bits. You have a constant length k encoder. You have to enter your bit one by one, and you have to calculate the addition or output of that encoder at the particular input values, and that encoder will be given to the output value. So that is, if you are entering the first bit, so your output will be 1 1. And what will be the next step? When you switch, after give the clock pulse, your one bit will be shifted, and after shifted, you will have to calculate the position. So same process will repeat it. One bit enter, 0 bit enter, one bit enter, and according to that, you can make a state transition diagram. So what about the convolution encoding? Now we will again move to the state transition diagram. So you can see here whatever diagram we are using. Input bit is 101. Okay, so you have to work out on the 101, and what outputs you will receive? We will receive the this type of output. Here we are seeing the group of three. So you can see here is G1, G2 and G3. So what about the output? So number of outputs are 3. So according to that, we will design our encoder. So now what will happen? State A, B, C and D. And here is the data 101. So now what will happen here? Input bit. 101, and output bits are this one. So here in initial examples we have take the group of 2, but in this example we are taking the group of 3. So what is the reason behind taking the group of 3? Because in this encoder we have 3 outputs, 1, 2 and 3, and so at a time when you are entering the single bit you will receive the 3 output bits. So when you are at the present state A, so it will move to the A, move to the B say A. So there are possible transactions and you have to options for choosing their transactions in and conversion encoder. So that is basically a part which we have to see. Now there is again a value which we have to calculate the transition states. So what about the input bits? That is the 1011. So you can see here, this is the encoder. This is the different combination G1, G2, G3 means again it will make a group of 3 because our outputs are in group of 3. So just here, when first bit will enter 1011, so when first bit will enter, what will be the output? So where you can see 101, 010. So there are many options. So that will define the different options. So state A. So initially you are at the 00. After then you entering the one bit. uh, After entering the one bit there are two options. Okay, so when you enter the one bit, so here we will make the many options. And again when you are completing this, when you are entering the second bit, you have to again calculate the G1, G2, G3, and according to that you have to told about the state, how many states, yeah, in which state you have to go. So initial state, after then the state will be C, so that is the 10. After that state will be D, that is equal to 11. So these four states are fixed: 00, 01, 10 and 11. That is indicated as a ABCD, and according to that state we have to calculate. So first of all there is a simple encoder, you have a shift registers, you have an input data, and according to that data your output will be provided, and that is a basically bunch of 3 group combinations. So that is the difference between 2-bit combinations or 3-bit combinations. So what type of combinations or group you are taking, there is nothing, you have to only decide your what will be the transition state. So we will discuss here about the transition state. So transition state will be the we will decide the transition state. Suppose you have to enter the one bit and you will calculate the data, output data, that is the C1, C2, but your output state will be decided after shifting the one bit. So when one bit enters, you will shift it your bit to the second place, next further left hand side, and then that particular 2-bit combinations will give you the state. So that is the basic. So you have to carefully decide what about the state, because initially when you are in 00, first bit will enter. So according to first bit enter, there will be two options: you have a output, group of outputs, and you have a state. So when first bit enter, so then you will calculate the G1, G2, G3, or G1 and G2. So whatever outputs you have to taken from your encoder, and what will happen, what will be the state where this graph or flow will be go. So that is depend on the state. So how you can decide the next state? By shifting. So after shifting your bit, that will the last two bits will decide the state. So that is basically what will be the, so the in 4 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 1, so there are only four states, and in this four states you have to move accordingly. So you can see here, this is our output. So in this lecture we will see about the basic convolution encoder, how you can design an encoder, and how your input data will be provided the output bits. After then we will see the state transition diagram, what is the basic position of your data or where your data should be held in particular part. So we in according to transition state diagram, we will decide the in which directions or in which locations our data have to move. So this is the two. In our next lectures, we will see about the enhanced version of our this state transition diagram, and that is the trellis diagram. And with respect to trellis diagram, we will also focus on the tree. So that is basically encoding. So if we are talking about the convolution encoding, so this is basically divided into the three parts: state transition diagram, tree code, and third one is the trellis diagram. So these three methods will decide how our input bits will be coded into the output. So as we have to see these two methods, and in our next lectures we will again see the next two process. So now we will slide little bit. These are the examples, and these are the objective questions. So basically, we are focused on the objective questions because there is a many minor things is hidden in objective questions, and if we have not attempted that question, so we have to much focused on our theory parts. So basically, measure of amount of redundancy. So what about the redundancy? This is a very important topic, and we are using the redundancy, that is a basically a code size, code weight, code rate, so minimum distance. So what type of measure of amount of redundancy is given by how you can change or again compare that redundancy. The number of k bit shift over which a single information bit influence the encoder. So you have to decide ki how many k bit shift over which a single information bit influence the encoder output. So you have to keep in mind method used for representing. So what about the convolution encoder? We have to told you so many things about the convolution encoder. So what is the state diagram and how you can decide your state in this diagram. So example, which one is example of your state diagram? Binary code, if you are talking about the maximum number of possible sequence made up of L branch words. So how you can in code tree, if you are talking about the code tree, so how many branches are there? So in our next lecture, we will see about this. Maximum likelihood detector, the error probability is, so you have to decide if you are opting the maximum likelihood detector, so what is the probability, maximum, minima, or zero. So this is the basic things. This is the about the trellis diagram. This is little bit in next slides also. So, okay, but trellis diagram, the number of nodes, how many nodes, yeah, in which nodes you are working. So that is basically a transfer of our state diagram nodes into the trellis diagram. So that's all from my side. So I think you are comfortable with convolution coding. It is just nothing. It is basically based on our memory based system. So that is basically it is not only depend on present input. It is also depend on the previous input. So according to that, we will calculate our the further states. In our next lecture, we will see about the release diagram. So how you can modify your state transition diagram into the trellis diagram. So our next lecture will be that particular release diagram, and it will also represent how we can represent our coded output into the code tree. So that is code tree is also a basically representation of our encoder, and after encoder there is a decoder. So what about the role of decoder? It will decode our coded message, and then it will again return back to our message data to our to system. So what about how, what type of data, in which type of data you have to work out, and how you can extract from these coded words. So these coded word is only used for removing or reduction of noise, because this code is particularly unique code, and noise is not easily affected to this code. Now, okay, thank you.